people are constantly raising the bar.
Sacrifices need to be made.
What would you guys say are your biggest weaknesses?
You are your enemy right now.
Is success a lie?
Just a fucking podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the Student Side Hustle. This week I'm speaking to Chris Kennedy. So this is actually quite a unique story. So I met Chris a while ago. I just saw him around AUT gym. So we both go to AUT. He's been studying here a lot longer than I have. But so Chris is doing his master's in exercise science, and he's also a powerlifting coach and a very, very good powerlifter. He's got an insane total. It's like 670 at 73 body weight and 73 kilos body weight. And to put that in perspective, my total is probably barely over 200. It's something like that. Like his bench is like 160 competition bench. It's like it's fucking insane, which is double mine. So it's like, and we're not that far body weight difference. So it's pretty fucking insane. And then there's quite a unique story to go with that as well. So Chris, how did you get into this? How did you become a powerlifter, a coach, get into exercise science in general? And what is your sort of story?
Yeah, so it's been a little bit up and down, to be honest. Like, probably started from back when I was about 16. I wanted to make a little bit of money at school, so I met some people and they told me how to make some money out of like selling drugs. So I started selling like marijuana at boarding school where I got sent to, which, long story short, I got expelled and I got in a little bit of trouble. So then I ended up leaving school and taking a different route for a couple of years. Basically just got into drugs. I ended up getting a methamphetamine addiction, through which from when I was 19 years old, I ended up robbing a dairy for $100. So I got 3 years, 1 month in prison.
Wow.
And my first day in prison, I got put through like a real gnarly league workout.
Right.
With the mongrel mob. So they pretty much threw me in a workout, absolutely destroyed me. I couldn't walk for probably a good 3 weeks or so. I spewed up 4 times through the workout.
Holy shit.
And I got the nickname Chucky on my first day in prison
Fucking
from spewing up.
Right.
So pretty much after that, I wanted to know why I was sore. Why I couldn't walk, why I was limping, and what happens next, how are these guys bigger, because when I went in I was actually 60 kilo I think I was, so it's pretty skin and bone.
Yeah.
Just coming off the meth habit. So a couple of guys in there, they gave me some reading material about anatomy and physiology.
Yeah.
A couple of printed out research articles, and I just started reading, and stuff started to click. Oh yeah, this is DOMS, that's what this is, that's why it's fucking painful.
Just fucking intense DOMS.
Yeah, man.
And then how did that sort of learning process evolve? Because now you've gone from there to basically being I'd say probably top 1% in expertise when it comes to exercise science. I think I know a lot when it comes to the gym, but then when I compare myself to you, it's I feel like I know nothing, right? And it's that is something that I think is quite insane to come from where you've come from and sort of get through that. So how did you sort of make that transition?
So I guess I made the best of the worst situation, because a lot of people associate prison with you go in there and you I don't know what people actually think, but people think you just go in there and you do nothing, because when you do go in there you sort of have a choice. You can make the most of your time, because in there you don't have a job, you don't have to cook, you don't have to do anything, everything's sort of done for you.
Yeah.
So you've got a choice. You can chill and relax and just eat and have a cruisy time and just stay out of trouble in there. Or you can use the 24 hours a day that you've got in there to your advantage to read and study and exercise and grow. So I took advantage of that, and I just read every single day. I got a little bit of a routine going on where we would wake up in the morning, 7 o'clock every morning. They'll come in and we'll get breakfast, and then we would work out for a couple of hours. So we had a little workout crew eventually, and then just read. For pretty much majority of the day, I was just reading books. A little bit about nutrition, a little bit about exercise science, a little bit about exercises, and just read for the whole day. So really take advantage of the time.
What made you sort of think? What in your mind was sort of made you make that sort of choice? Because I think I can assume it would be quite easy to just sort of fuck around, because it's cool, I can just chill. I can't do much in here anyway. And I think it's and anywhere in life, I think it's easy to get into that mentality. But what sort of made you think shit, I can actually learn a lot in here, and like what made you sort of think I could did you sort of have the same plan? Like were you sort of thinking like, shit, I want to eventually go to uni, do all this shit? Like was that sort of the plan back then, or were you just sort of thinking I need to do something this time?
Yeah, like to be honest, I just sort of fell into it because inside there, I guess there's a lot of wise people that have been there for a long time, and a lot of them actually do, like, despite what the media tells you, like try to help youth that come in there.
Yeah.
And they basically tell you bluntly, like, you know, you have a choice. You can come in here and you can fuck around, or you can come in here and you can make something of it. And it just sort of made me like reevaluate what I'd actually done. Like I just knew that I was still young. I had no intention of going to uni back then. I didn't actually think it was possible. I just wanted to like learn about like exercises and so I can train people in there and do something. More just for like a time killer, to be honest.
Yeah. So it was more just sort of like you wanted to do something, and it's like, did you find? And then how did that transition once you got out? Was that transition quite hard? Because we've talked about it off air, and then so how did you find that transition? Because when we've talked about it off air, it seemed like it's almost impossible, and I obviously can't even imagine it because I've never had to go through something like that where it's been this. It's never felt like I've had people working against my success. Do you feel like that was sort of the situation? How did you sort of transition to getting back to normal life?
Yeah, that was definitely the difficult part, because when I got out, like as part of my rehabilitation plan, I had to have something in place. So I enrolled for university to try to do a degree in exercise science. I got declined from that because I didn't finish school.
Right.
So they gave me a second option to do a certificate.
Right.
So I did a certificate and just did pretty well, and then eventually went into the diploma.
Right.
But again, like same obstacles again. They went away on trips. I was actually on home detention when I first got out. So yeah, I don't know, just to answer the question, I guess like I just did what I could do in the moment. So what I could do in the moment was I could do a certificate. I could start at the bottom and then just see what happens from there.
I think it's very like, it's something that I think I don't think a lot of people have that mindset, because I think you're a very unique individual, because you've been all these obstacles have been placed in your way, and you sort of said like, oh cool, like what can I do though? And I think that's a very good mindset, because it's kind of like, okay, in reality I have these options: do nothing or actually do something and then progress. And I think it's very admirable, and I think I hope your story continues to be told, because it's like I look at a lot of kids nowadays and they don't have any obstacles in their way, and they're still like not striving for anything that makes them scared. And were you scared of sort of this whole thing when you first started? Like, did you think, holy shit, is this even possible? Like, that sort of thing.
Oh, definitely. Like every day, like because I applied for a lot of jobs when I got out, and pretty much all of them, you know, you never hear back from. So you never think that you would actually have a chance of, especially like personal training or working at a gym, because you're working with the public.
And it's just like, I think, especially for you, it's like now it's like, I think expertise wise, you're probably already very close or there, like knowledge wise. And it's like, now I just think it's just sort of a straight path to getting your name known and doing that. What is the sort of future plans for you, and what are your like, where do you want to take it career-wise? And then we've talked a bit about this off air, but talk about whichever bits you want to talk about. But what are your careers? What are your goals, sort of when it comes to the prison system? Because I think it doesn't seem like it's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. So like for future-wise, I'm pretty like uncertain of what exactly I want to do. I just know that I want to be able to like go into prisons, especially in youth environments, and I don't know, almost do like some kind of motivational speaking towards them to help them know that society is going to tell you can't do something, but you just have to fight that and sort of push through it, and you know, try to still make something of yourself. Like crime isn't the only way that you know you can do something, because what society, I guess, tells these kids is that when you mess up, you've messed up. Like, you know, that's it. Yeah. So I want them to sort of, you know, be able to change their mindset to know that they're messed up, and that society is going to neglect them because of that mistake, and then because of that the chain reaction sort of goes on, I guess, where
Yes.
society's telling them, so then they believe it, so then they're not going to continue in doing anything because they've been implanted in their head that they're a mistake, they're fucked up, so they can't come back out of that. So I just guess I want to go in there and just tell them that will happen, but it doesn't have to happen. That's going to be told to them no matter, regardless of what they do. I still get told that now.
Right.
That's
That's crazy for me to think that people are still saying that you can't do it, because it's for me, from where you've come from, it's mind blowing, and it's just I think most people will never get to experience those kind of obstacles, and they'll never be able to think shit, I have fucking crushed it. And it's do you think, what do you think has been the biggest thing that's sort of been the biggest obstacle? Would you say it's just sort of the way people have viewed you, or
not really in particular, because I've always got along with everyone. I've always connected to people, and everyone's always sort of, I guess, got along with me.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest obstacle is having to go through, for example, if I wanted to travel and do some seminars overseas.
Right.
I've got to go through so many systems of applying for visas and special visas, and go for interview processes just to go to certain countries through which probably 90% of them I actually can't go to. So and then same with university, having to, the stress of passing a police vetting system so you can actually get through. So I guess the obstacles are just the actual obstacles that,
do you feel like that's sort of the issue with the prison system nowadays? Because it's you get out and you're okay, cool, even though I want to be changed, there's all these things that are actually in the way of me actually doing anything apart from crime.
Yeah, because I guess it comes down to this guy Dr. Paul Wood. I was listening to his speak the other day, which is pretty interesting. He's someone that's actually done a life sentence in prison for murder.
Fuck.
And he ended up doing his master's in there, and I think he's the first one in history to start his PhD in prison.
Wow.
I mean, he got out and he actually finished his PhD. He's a real successful psychologist now. And he was just on the Breakfast Show 2 weeks ago. I shared his video on my Facebook. And he was going on about how the prison system is there to make people feel shame.
Right, yeah.
And it should be there to actually encourage people to realise what they've done and grow and come out and change. There's no rehabilitative system going on in the prison. It's just there to make you feel shame and to make you feel like you're fucked up.
Yeah, that's pretty shit. It's kind of I feel like it's similar with a lot of people nowadays. I feel like the amount of good that just a word of encouragement can do is mind blowing.
Especially nowadays, we live on social media, so we believe everything that we sort of see. So if someone tells you that you're not going to do something, then you're probably going to believe that you're not going to be able to do something.
It's crazy. Whenever I still get the surprised people being holy shit, he's kind of still making podcasts, and it's even for me, there hasn't been many obstacles in my way. I feel like I've had relatively smooth sailing. But it's even I've had very few people tell me I can't do it, but then the people who have said I can't do it, I've been ooh, I've taken that to heart. And it's kind of, but then, for example, say when someone like Eric Helms, or someone I don't know if you know Steve Revive Stronger, when they tell you, hey, you're doing a good job, you're heading in the right direction, that can make a world of difference. And it's do you feel, is that sort of what you want to help do for a lot of kids?
Yeah, I mean, that's really as simple as I think it can be. They just need someone to say, yeah, you can do it. That's it. They don't need these little courses that they sort of put out that they think is going to help people get through. They just need someone to be hey man, what do you want to do? I want to do this. Okay, cool. This is where you go.
Yeah.
That's all they need. Just someone to say you can do it, because they don't believe it themselves.
Do you find, because I find, for instance, a lot of my friends will come to me and they'll say, oh, I want to do X. For example, fitness, it's a great analogy. They'll say, I want to do X, and then you'll say, okay, here's how you go and do X. And I find usually a lot of them won't follow through. Do you think, obviously there's going to be a lot that won't follow through, but do you just want to sort of boost the percentage and get the ones who you think are like they want to change really bad. And it's obviously the system's pretty shit now, so it's like it's going to be a long journey. But it's like, even if I feel like the amount of rewarding fulfillment you can get from even just changing one, and then if you can change 1,000, like that'd be mind-blowing. And then it's like, what does that demonstrate to all the others in there? Because it's like, then that's like, oh shit, they all did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like the chain reaction effect there. Like if someone sees someone else that's done it, that have been in their position before, then it makes it a little bit more powerful than someone that hasn't been in their position, that hasn't done it.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone's successful that's never been to prison or never been in trouble goes into a prison and says, hey guys, like you can just change, like it's easy, like they're not going to listen to them.
No.
But like I guess it just makes the impact more powerful when they're like, oh shit, like he's been in this position before, like if that person can do it, then well surely I can do it. I think that's another powerful part that needs to be implemented too. Like,
and I think it's very like, and I think a lot of it you can relate back to fitness, because it's like if someone naturally just is pretty jacked naturally and they start lifting weights, it's like okay, cool, nice, you have a good body, but you didn't travel anywhere to get there. But it's like, I think for someone where it's like, okay, yep, I can display I've gone through the same struggles, I've gone through all these things, and I think that will make, like, I can't wait till this actually, so you can actually start doing this. And it's like, I think you've been laying the groundwork, and now it's just a matter of time before it's like, hopefully that then you can like change a few, change 10, change 20, 100, like, and that's like, what do you think are the things that actually you really, I don't know if you can actually get podcasts in prison, but say if a few of them were listening, what would be the main things that you'd want to actually drill home to them and sort of say? Because it's like they sort of need, I think someone guiding them like yourself could be a really, really good thing for them.
I think like just like making the most of the time in the area, like, because they've all got 24 hours like of nothing to do. So if they figure out what they want to do when they get out, they can sort of plan ahead and start. Because I guess the easiest way to sort of get somewhere when you get out is by starting your own business. So probably like just figure out what you want to do when you get out, study the hell out of it in prison, like know exactly what you need to do, so then when you come out you can sort of start implementing everything like straight away, because you can do like so much work in there, and you got plenty of time. But I think just make the most of your time.
I think it's similar to like university in a way, because I think a lot of people they go to their classes and they just sort of sit there and they just attend.
Exactly.
And it's like for me, for example, I like my degree, but I don't love it, so I'm not going to do that as my job. It's like I want to basically do something like you're doing. Like I want to coach people in bodybuilding or powerlifting, because it's what I love. And if I hadn't done something like the podcast, it wouldn't have allowed me to even know that, even know that was possible. And it's sort of, I think there's a lot of parallels, but obviously it's like, it's not like there's not many obstacles in my way, and I think it's unfathomable for me to even understand the sort of feeling of like, damn, there's all these people not wanting me to do it, or saying like, or just having this negative expectation or negative sort of thought. Do you feel like it's sort of been more negative than positive, or a lot of people have just, or especially at the start, do you feel like it was sort of everywhere you applied they'd sort of say no, or just didn't respond? Or
I mean, like, I think people just don't want to have to like risk anything, because I guess they just associate everything on paper. So because I guess when you've done something wrong, you're categorized in the same as like every other one that's done something wrong. So criminal A has probably done something terrible and he's still like a career criminal, but person B who just like went into a bad place in their life and they did something wrong, they're still categorized the same as criminal A, because they're all seen on paper, like they're not really seen in like person to person.
That's the thing, it's like they don't see the person, and it's like I've gotten to know you on a personal level, so it's like I can actually see, like I can see the changes. Do you think it's hard for a lot of people to sort of realize like, oh shit, they're not all just bad people? Because it's like people make one mistake and then they're fucked. It's like,
Yeah, like I think it's slowly coming out now. Like, 'cause I think it's
Yeah.
the same with like tattoos. Like people used to, I guess, think that if you got a tattoo, then you're a bad person. But then now,
Yeah.
like police officers and judges,
Yeah,
and like everyone's got tattoos, and it's slowly people are becoming more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I think like now as well, like so I've met like heaps of people and they're super welcoming about it, and which I guess maybe a wee while ago they wouldn't have been as much like comfortable about it.
Yeah.
So I think now it's getting better because a lot of people, especially with the resources available nowadays are like coming out or doing something wrong and then coming out and having like options. Like there's a lot of options nowadays.
Do you feel like, so once you get out, what would be your sort of plan for, or just, I guess, for the majority of people, when they get out, what would you say is the best option or their framework to take a similar path to you, like actually realize like, oh shit, I don't need to just go back to doing crime, like, because do you feel like that is sort of the draw, because it's like, oh shit, I feel like I can't do anything else?
Yeah, I guess like just accepting that the first wee while is going to be like terrible, like
Yeah.
because for the first like the reason I didn't want to like tell my story for the first year or two is because I'm like, that's what everyone does. They get out and they're like, oh, I'm never going to do it again. I mean, they do something and then
Yes.
society sees that and they're like, oh yeah, well, everyone's going to come out and say they're not going to do it again and they're going to do it again and we're
Right.
going to go around that cycle. So
Yeah.
I think just like keeping quiet for a year,
Yeah.
like just sort of getting used to like society again, because it's a little bit different out here than what it is in there. Like we have to actually do work out here and it's a lot harder out here than inside, which
Right.
again is I guess why like a lot of people go inside, because it's comfortable in there.
Right.
You don't have to worry about anything as long as you're as long as you're a good cunt, like
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about anything
Yeah.
because you get woken up, you get food, you get like a bed, like
Yeah.
but out here you have to pay bills and you have to buy food and
I feel like that's something that I wouldn't even have thought of, because when I think of prison, obviously someone like me, I'd get fucked up. Like, I'm like, I'd get wrecked, and it's just like, I can't even. For me, prison is way scarier than out here, right? But it's like I've never. I guess if it's all you've known for a long time, it's like I can see how it would sort of just be like you can just cruise through.
yeah, like I guess it's just the like, because I guess humans we're scared of the unknown. Like we don't know what to expect, so
Yeah.
like no matter what it is, if we don't know what's going to happen, we're going to be scared of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the same thing with prison. Is it's scary until you go there, and then it's comfortable, and people get comfortable. And
Then do you think it sort of swaps? Like the outside becomes the scary part?
oh, definitely, man. Like out here is way more scary than out there, because you got so many people out here that are super successful and super not successful, and
Yeah.
then in the middle, like
Yeah.
everyone's on different incomes and everything, where everyone inside, like everyone is essentially equal, because
Yes.
the most money that you're allowed to spend in a week there is $70.
Yeah.
Like everyone, there's not a rich person, there's not a
Yeah.
poor person, like everyone's the same, they've got the same house, they've got the same, they've got the same stuff, like everyone is equal. But out here, it's like there's so many categories, like there's so many jobs, there's so many things that you can do and you can't do. And
Do you feel like the obstacles of being like an ex-con, do you feel like, is that the correct term? Like,
I don't know.
well, I don't know what
it's
you call
like,
it, like
bro.
someone who used to be in prison.
Yeah,
Do you feel like the obstacles of that, do you feel like that sort of contributes to the whole scariness of the outside? Because it's like you've gone through this thing where once you're in there, it's like, oh yeah, get comfortable. And then once you get out, it's like, oh shit, everyone's telling me I can't do it. Everyone is just not replying to job applications. Everyone's just basically having this negative expectation.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that?
Definitely. And I think a lot of the time it's all in our heads. Like, I think sometimes people don't actually care about it, but no matter what, we've always got that in the back of our heads that if we go into a job, we're constantly thinking like, oh shit, like I've got a criminal record, like hopefully they don't ask me this.
Right.
Like it's always there no matter what, even if the person's like doesn't care, like if you're there, like it's just in the back of the head, which I guess changes the way that we speak, which can sometimes be detrimental, because we're constantly thinking about the thing that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
you know?
Do you feel like, do you still worry, like when you're talking to someone and if they know or if they don't know, and how they sort of what they think and all that sort of stuff. Because like I think for a lot, like when I first met you, I obviously had no clue, right? And it's like it didn't even cross my mind because it's like I just wouldn't even think. And then when I found out, it's like, oh wow, it was more like it was just like holy shit, that's crazy. Like it wasn't like a oh my god, it was more like damn, that's a fucking insane story. And it's just like so much respect, because it's just like to go through that and then to actually like have all these obstacles and then jump over every single one. It's like I think that is very, very admirable. And I think also having to not tell everyone for that long, I think is also, I can imagine, very hard, because it's like, especially if it's something that like I can't imagine prison as something that you just don't ever think about again. It's like when you get out, it's probably sort of something that's always on your mind a lot of the time. Do you feel like it's still something that's sort of, do you still, like when you're just talking to a normal person, do you still sort of worry, like what do they think? Do they think
yeah, like not so much anymore, because it's quite weird now. Like when I think about it, it doesn't feel like it's happened, because I guess like I've grown so much internally. When I look back at it, I even like, you know, the way that you just reacted to me, I like sort of react about that to myself. I'm like, holy shit, like
that happened.
I have no idea like what I was sort of going through back then. Like I can't believe that I was in there, and I can't believe it was for that long. And yeah, so it's quite weird. Like I'm sort of stuck in between two lives, where I'm like, I'm in this new one now, and I'm looking back at this one. I'm like, did it even happen? Was it like a dream, or you know, like it's kind of it's kind of weird to explain.
It's very mind blowing, because like for example for me, it's like when I think about my sort of my story and the way what I've gone through, it's like obviously it's a whole different thing, but it's like for me I still think like holy shit, I can't believe I was that person. And it's like it just blows your mind. And I think it's very weird, because obviously in any sort of transformation there's a lot of personal growth that occurs, and then you're like wow, like how was I that person? But I find a lot of the time I'm extremely grateful that I even that it happened to me, and that everything sort of went the way it did, because else I wouldn't be where I am now or doing what I am now. Like
exactly,
like it just blows my mind that it's like that I've been this lucky to have that happen and then still do what I'm doing. Like do you sort of get that feeling of like holy shit?
Yeah, man, like it's probably one like massive thing that everyone should sort of take on board, is that like the worst things in your life can be the best things in your life. Like it's like a muscle way, like it's not going to grow unless you damage it. Like it's the same with like life. Like you're not going to grow and get better at things unless you fail. You just have to like take fails on board and like learn from it, and then not do it again.
And I think even especially when you've been at the lowest point in your life, and then you get to a point where you're like, it feels like a dream. Like I don't know what moments for you would have been like, holy shit, did I just do that? Like maybe like when you, I don't know, did you achieve the record or something in the powerlifting? But it's like when you did that, were you just like, holy shit, like I've come from there and I'm here. Like for me, when I compete, like I think that'll be one of the moments where I'll be like, holy fuck, like Jesus, I made it. Like
yeah, man, like it's a little bit emotional, way. Like you're like shit, like how the fuck did I so it's like I was 60 kilo and now I'm like you know.
And it's just like I think it's not like, especially when it's involved in fitness, like it's not even just the physical, it's just like the amount of mental freedom, like the mental growth, because now it's like if you're not already, like I'd say you're on track to being one of the like leading experts in exercise science, and it's like going from prison to that is just like, I think in the near future I think you'll make a big impact on a lot of people in prison, because I don't think there's many people, as you said, like say if I get super successful and I walk in there and I say, oh guys, you can do whatever you want, they'll be like, cool bro, like who the fuck are you? And it's just like you kind of have that story where it's like they realize like, oh shit, he's actually been here. And you can make that impact.
Just the whole like relating to them thing. I guess like people change to what they think they believe.
I think that's the thing that is gonna really just be insane to watch. Like I'm very excited to see you evolve over the next like 5 years. But something that I'd really want to touch on is, what do you think is sort of the main misconceptions from like someone in my position or someone in just general public about people in prison, or just prison in general? Because it's like when we've talked about it, I've been like, holy shit, like it's just blown my mind. What sort of things do you think have been the major things that people just get wrong or wrongly judge, or all that sort of stuff?
I think it's like when people think they're like about to choose one, when people think that when you do something once, that you're gonna do it forever.
Yeah.
Like I just always thought about this thing in my head where sometimes I'll have dreams of someone telling me that like you're always gonna be back there.
Yeah.
I mean, I respond by asking that person, I say, have you ever lied in your life?
Yeah.
I mean, if they say yes, because everyone's lied once, you know. So if you've lied once in your life, does that mean that you're a liar right now?
Yeah.
It's a sort of the same concept, like when someone does something once, it doesn't mean they're going to do it for the rest of their life, you know?
I think it's very true, and I can relate a lot to fitness, because it's kind of like, for example, something that I learned from Eric recently or a while ago was the concept of black and white versus grey. And I think I learned a lot of it from you as well. It's like sort of realizing like, oh shit, anything works, but it's like it's all varying degrees of context and all that sort of stuff. And do you think it's kind of similar with that? Because it's like maybe some people will go back and do the exact same thing, and maybe a lot of them are forced to do that, and hopefully it changes. But do you think people should not just kind of draw a blank statement and say, oh, they're all criminals?
Yeah, exactly, because it's so varied in there as well. It's exactly like exercise too. Like when someone wants to go on a plan, like if they follow their plan to the T, like whatever will sort of aim towards will most likely happen because they've been consistent. And it's the same when somebody gets out, like they might try really, really hard and work their ass off for a while, but then they'll stop. And that's when they'll continue to follow that like their same cycle again. Whereas if they just kept on going through and just being consistent, then it's just their way of like breaking their cycle again, you know.
And it can like actually sort of happen, which I think is quite. It still blows my mind to think like when I saw your post, I was like, holy shit, like for that to happen, it and it's like for me it's so incomprehensible. Like I can never comprehend that, and for some ways I kind of wish I could, because I think there's things that I'll never get to learn. But I guess there's lessons on both ends of the spectrum, but it's like, thinking about it nowadays, do you regret it, or are you kind of like grateful that it's sort of pursuit of who you are today? Or?
Yeah, like definitely both. Like I really hate what I did. Like I went into a dairy and obviously impacted somebody's life. But at the same time, if that hadn't happened, I guess, like I wonder, would I still be like doing heaps of small stuff and impacting a lot of other people's life to a smaller degree negatively?
Yeah.
But because that thing did happen and I ended up, going to prison and getting out and turning my life around. So that's where I'm like, yes and no. Like I regret what I did.
What you mean, yeah.
But I'm very grateful for how it sort of turned out in the end.
Yeah.
Because
my thing is, I think the impact that you can have long term is going to be insane, because I don't know what percentage of them will be able to have the impact that you can have, because you've got the story and a lot of them probably relate to fitness, and it's like they can just follow the blueprint that you set down, and I think that's a very powerful thing. And if you can just leverage that and teach as many of them as possible, like I truly think you can make an insane impact. Like it's sort of similar to what I want to do. I think a lot of people with scoliosis sort of say that they think that they can't exercise properly, they can't do X, they can't do Y, and it's like they have these, I'm not sure if I like the term self-limiting beliefs, but I guess self-limiting beliefs, but and they don't want to reach out and just try it and think, oh yeah, but what if I could, and then just put all into it. I think for your thing it's more like there's definitely a lot more barriers in the way, but it's sort of similar thing where I want to sort of be like, oh shit, look, I did it, like, and be that example.
Exactly, yeah. think it gets to that whole like what if it doesn't work? Like that's what goes through a lot of people's head over. But then what if it does work? You know?
Do you still sort of worry like, oh shit, what if I don't make it? Like,
yeah, every day, yeah, like because I guess I don't really have a solid plan of where I'm exactly going to be in 5 years because I'm just sort of studying until you know something sort of pops up.
Yeah,
or, you know,
until you feel ready or
yeah. Like I really enjoy studying there, but like and I guess I'm comfortable studying too, so that's sort of why I don't really want to leave it at the moment. But yeah, every day, yeah, every day.
I think it's good to acknowledge that because, like for instance with me, it's something I don't talk about much is I am very like, I'm skeptical as to my physical health in the future. I'm unsure if bodybuilding is the best thing for it or if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but I'm kind of like, what's the other option, you know? Like, the other option is just not do anything. Like, the other option is not, it sounds cheesy, but like not strive for what I actually really, really, really want. And do you feel like it's sort of a similar thing? It's like for you, what would be the other option? It's like not strive for it. And I think my thing is the people that you're surrounded by and the people that respect and support you, I can't see you not making it. So it's like, I think people look at success in a very binary way, like it's black or white, but it's like, if you even affect 10 people, I think for you, you'll be like, holy shit. And then it's like, you get to see them like transform their lives. And I think it's a very hard thing to grasp, especially, I'm not sure what your plan is to do over social media or actually go in and talk, but it's like, I think, for instance, for me, when someone messages me and they say, oh, I've got scoliosis, can you help me? And I give them some advice, and then they come back a month later and they're like, hey, I tried this out and it actually helped. Like, it's hard for me to realize that they're actually real people, and it's very hard to sort of see that disconnect. But I think once you meet one of them in person, it's like, like I met one of my friends' followers in person in Auckland, and he's in Britain, and I was like, holy fuck, like, these people actually have real followers, they're real people. And I'd been talking to the guy for ages, and I was like, oh shit, like, and we hadn't even, and I was just showing him my Instagram, and he was like, holy shit, you follow this guy? And I was like, oh shit, it's real, you know, like, that's the thing that still kind of blows my mind. Do you think, is there anyone for you that sort of made you realize like, oh shit, I can do this? Or were you just sort of like, I have to do this?
I'm not so sure, eh? Like, I guess I just have to do this. Like, I look at Paul Wood, like, I look up to him quite a lot because he went all the way through to PhD. So he was sort of my motivation to know that you can sort of do something. Like, I guess the same thing we were talking about before, like seeing someone else has been in a way worse situation and he's done like everything. Yeah.
And then I think also something that I'd like to touch on is when it comes to fitness and just your athletic goals, it's sort of, I assume you're sort of using this as a tool to show like, boom, I can be successful. Now I can teach everyone else in prison and sort of say, hey, we can do this. You can actually do whatever you want, but it's going to take a long time. It's going to be shit for a long time, but would you say that's sort of your tool to get there? Yeah,
like just letting them know what to sort of expect because I've sort of done it. And they're going to go through the same process. Like if someone, because like we were saying before, like we're scared of the unknown, but if we know what's coming, like if you do a workout and you know that you're going to get sore and you're going to be weaker the next day, then you sort of can accept a little bit more opposed to doing a workout and getting sore and then being weaker the next day and being like, why am I not sore? But if you knew like why it's happening, then it's not as scary anymore. So I guess the same thing with those guys there. Like if you tell them like this is what you're going to expect for the first year, is you're going to pretty much everyone's going to reject you, or you could get lucky or whatever. Like they know that something bad, it's not going to be that nice for a while. I mean, they'll accept it a little bit more easier, and
it's just sort of realizing long term that it will probably be better.
Oh, definitely, man. Like I always tell everyone, like the long way is essentially the short way. Like you can do heaps of quick fixes, but they all add up to be longer than the actual long way itself. Yeah.
I think it's same. I think there's a lot of sort of parallels between like this and entrepreneurship, because it's kind of like, as an entrepreneur, you can, or even just in many aspects of life, it's like you can go for the short fix, but it's long term, it's probably not actually that beneficial.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think if you can sort of teach them, hey, look, long term, this is highly beneficial. You'll be happy. You'll live a normal life. You are not a criminal for the rest of your life. Like, I think that will be insanely powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when it comes to your athletic pursuits in the future, what would be the main things that you're wanting to achieve, and what would be the main, and as a coach as well, because I know you do a bit of coaching, and you also like, when I talk to you about like just in the gym, and we're just having a chat in the gym, you'd be like, oh yeah, Angle, we did like that whole thing about bench press, and it's like there's so many things that I'm like it's just like there's so much more that I want to learn. What are the main things that where you want to go in the future with your personal athletic pursuits, and then coaching wise?
Yeah, so next year I wanna compete like for myself. I to make it to Worlds in Sweden for IBF Worlds, and I want to help grow powerlifting in New Zealand, because it's becoming pretty popular, I guess, and strength training sort of getting up there, and especially with like females out there. So I guess like my ultimate goal is just to get more people into strength training and sort of away from what the media sort of tells them about how to progress and all that kind of stuff, like helping people see things a lot more clearer. You know, to know like simple is a little bit more better than like some real complicated stuff that's out there and all the information that's out there. So I guess just bringing more people into strength training and make it to Worlds.
Because I definitely think, like, when I see because I don't know how long you've been powerlifting for, but it's like, you are one strong motherfucker. Like, holy shit. Like, nearly same body weight as me, double the bench. And it's just like, for me, that's like, holy fuck. Like, Jesus. And then, is there certain... Because I think we might have talked about this a bit off air, but is there certain things about those goals that you're scared of, or things that, like, for example, going to Sweden with the whole prison thing in the countries, it's like, is that looking to be quite an issue, or?
Yeah, like that part's a little bit scary, because like I've looked a little bit into it, but I'm unsure exactly if I can go, like if I can actually make it into the country. So that's probably like a big fear of mine, like not like qualifying, doing heaps of hard work, and then getting there and get sort of chucked back to go back to New Zealand on a plane.
I think even if that does happen though, it's like, it's just sort of like, I feel like the amount of people that will rally behind you will be quite a lot, because people will be like, what the fuck, like, he's qualified, he's done the work, he's not a criminal anymore. And then it's like, for that to still be a thing, I don't know what the like laws are, or if there's restrictions on it, but it's kind of like, that would be pretty shit. And it's just like, you've done all this work, and then for it just to be like, oh, by the way, nope, like, it's pretty shit.
Yeah, that's one thing that I hope like changes in the future as well, like to have like some kind of gateway that you can sort of, you know, like qualify yourself to be a good citizen again, like opposed to now like you're sort of labelled for life. But I think there should be like some kind of gateway that someone has to work, you know, hard as anything to sort of prove to the society that they're good again. And, you know, be like a normal person again and not have anything on paper behind them. Because at the moment it's there forever, you know. And
what would be your main advice for, let's say the kid is 16, they're looking to sort of go down a similar path that you're at when you were 16, and they're quite lost, obviously. They don't really know anywhere where they want to go in life. They're sort of just going for, they're being sort of dragged into a lot of the stuff that they should be doing. What would be the main things that you sort of want them to keep in mind or to realise?
Probably for them to like just, you know, think of what they enjoy to do and to do that. Like they're still like kids, like, you know, I think we get sort of implanted that we've got to be like a good job and a degree, or like if we didn't finish school, then, you know, like we associate it with like a nobody sometimes. Like that's what I did. So I think just like letting them know that they're still young. They can do something that they enjoy, and yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest.
I think
they don't need to be perfect straight away.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, again, it's a lot of parallels to like being a creator. It's like it's a good analogy. Like my first 50, maybe 30 podcasts got like 7 views, and it's like that's incredibly demoralizing. And it's sort of, I imagine it's a similar thing, but on a bigger scale. It's like everything you try and do gets struck down for a bit.
Oh, definitely.
And then I can imagine the barriers sort of stay up for a long time. And then, do you feel like nowadays more of the barriers are gone for yourself personally, and just hopefully for generally people who are getting out, like, do you feel like it's trending in the right direction?
Yeah, sort of. Like, I mean, I've sort of viewed barriers differently now. Like, I used to view barriers as like the worst thing in the world, but now I sort of look at them as like, just a challenge. Like, they're sort of, a barrier is awesome when it comes, because it makes you like learn a new skill to get through something. Like, so I think like, I'm not too sure. Like, I just associate barriers as a good thing now.
Sweet. And then, trying to think if there's anything else I want to cover. What would you say is the main thing that you would say? What do you think is the biggest mistake that you made once you got out? Is there anything that you think if you avoided that you could have done the whole process faster, or anything that you wish you started doing earlier, or?
To be honest, like, not really in particular, Like, I guess I would have maybe planned things a little bit better, and like I sort of winged things for a while because I didn't know what was sort of going to happen. So probably have more of a plan of what I actually wanted to have an outcome of. Yeah, if anything.
And then say if someone is right now in prison and they're listening to this and they think, I want to create a plan. Would there be any sort of people, resources, places they could go? I'm not sure if they're allowed social media or what the deal is there, but if there's any sort of books, websites, etc. that you would recommend for them?
Yeah, like in there you don't have access to internet and social media and everything. There's pretty much a payphone and letters of your contact to the outside world. So I'd probably say like take advantage of the library there, like whatever you're interested in, to request a book that's in that area and just start reading and making yourself more knowledgeable and making the most out of your time in there.
Sweet. And then where can people find yourself online? Where can people find your Instagram, Facebook, any other social platforms you got?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram under Chris Powerlifts. I've also got my website, thestrengthinstitution.com, and also a Facebook page as well, Chris Kennedy, which is public, and Facebook page for the Strength Institution as well.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Student Side Hustle. I would appreciate so much if you would leave a review if you'd like to hear more of what I'm saying. Then I would love if you would follow me on Instagram or check out my other social media, all linked in the show notes. And again, I would just like to say thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful evening and study hard.